day, fellow Jersey nerds, and welcome to episode 88, 89, or 90 of the Jersey Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Ryan. Today on the Nerdcast, we have so much to go over that we're going to break it up into three incredible podcasts that are going to come out over the next little while. So that's why you're either listening to episode 88, 89, or 90. Here's what we're going to cover on these three podcasts. We're recording them all at once, and then we're going to chop it up so that you guys can get the information paced out and don't have to take it in all at once. So we're going to be covering the Carolina Hurricanes' new road sweater, the Edmonton Oilers' leaked third jersey. We got to look at the Buffalo Sabres' complete uniform for their 50th anniversary jersey. So we're going to wrap that up and kind of recap everything there. The Calgary Flames 40th anniversary logo, the Cape Breton Eagles rebrand from the QMJHL, the London Knights logo modification, quote, new jerseys. They're from the OHL. And then we'll shift over to the ECHL to talk about the Atlanta Gladiators, the Brampton Beast, and the Utah Grizzlies. And it wouldn't be a podcast without fellow co-hosts. Joining me this week are Justin, Sean, and Beepo. We're going to be talking now about the Calgary Flames 40th anniversary, 40th year logo. So to take a look at it, head on over to jerseynerdspodcast.com or check out the link in the episode description. We have the background is a red, I want to call it a home plate or an upside down home plate outlined in white and then yellow or gold, however you want to refer to it. The big feature is number 40 in the Flames block font. The Calgary Flames logo appears at the bottom. On the left side of the home plate is 1980, and on the right side of the home plate is 2020. And then we have two stripes. I guess you could call it three stripes if you think there's a red stripe there, jutting out from the side of the home plate just under the 4. Really interesting choice. But we'll get to that. We got to break this logo down. I can't help but think it looks extremely similar to the Buffalo Sabres alternate 50th anniversary logo. But let's get into that with Sean and Beepo. Beepo, start us off with the negatives of this anniversary logo. Sorry. Oh, man. All right. Justin is not Sean. That's what we've learned today on the Jersey Nerds podcast.
Monstrosity. Not a 10.
Oh, well, you know what? Now I feel bad. So, Justin, why don't you go first with your negatives?
Fair enough. Like you said, it's very similar to the Sabres and yet worse in every way, in my mind. I feel like the attention to detail just was not there. I mean, if you look at the 40, like the 4 sticks out farther to the left and the 0 sticks out to the right. Like it's not even centered, which is really odd. The stroke width on the outside of the home plate, whatever you want to call it, is not the same as the stroke width outlining the numbers. The baby stripes underneath the 4 just don't make sense, and they don't even match like anything they've worn on the jerseys as of late. Like if anything, match it to like the retro that they try to pump so much life into. It's just, I don't know. It just seems cheap and sloppy and quick, and like it's weird. Like the 4 like cuts off the like home plate in the top left corner, but like if you follow the lines up, they should peek out from above the 4, so there's like a bite taken out of it, but it's hidden behind the 4 somehow. I don't know. It's like, hey, let's make this 50th anniversary Sabres logo for us, but like just so people don't know we like plagiarized and cheated and like looked at their working class, we'll just make it like 3 levels worse like on every detail, and then we'll be okay.
Well, I mean, I gotta agree with Justin for sure that it looks a lot like the Sabres 50th logo, but just make everything worse. I'm not gonna say that I think they copied the Sabres logo. It's possible, I'm sure, because I'm sure behind the scenes, you know, some of the designers may be able to see, you know, they might be working on multiple projects at once per se. I'm not sure who designed this, whether it was in-house or if it was more of a agency or whatnot. If that's known, then please correct me. I'd love to give credit to who designed it, even though we're kind of ripping on it, because it's not all bad, and I'll get to that. We'll get to the positives. But yeah, I can't say that they copied it because they probably just happened to have a very similar looking one. I'm sure that they were both designing them around the same time. It just happens to look similar. But yeah, it's just very uneven, where they could have, with the font that they chose and the shape that they chose, the 40 just looks off center. And even though Justin mentioned that I think it is off center, and I agree with him that the 4 looks like it sticks out more, it looks like it needs to go more to the left. It's just a really weird visual, like eye trick, sort of like my own logo. Whenever you stick it in a circle, like like a Twitter profile picture, it looks off center even when it's perfectly centered. So my Twitter profile picture, and I think Instagram is a circle as well, it's bumped over to the right a little bit if you looked at it on a square, because it looks centered that way. And I think this kind of has a case of that going on. And that's the main detractor I have from it, honestly. And again, it just looks like some of the negative space may not have been thought out well enough in the detail with those 2 stripes below the 4. Where I'm going to bring in a positive that I just realized that may or may not be the case. At first glance, and you really have to look into it to see the positive that I'm going to bring up later. But at first glance, it's just like, why is that there? Is it just for the negative space? And while it kind of works to at least get rid of the negative space, it just seems tacked on.
I would agree. I mean, and also looking at the 4 and the 0, for me, they look too far apart. I mean, they just don't look like they're working as a unit. It looks like there's a 4 there and there's a 0 there, and I'm assuming 40 because I know it's for the 40th anniversary. It's not telling me that it's for the 40th anniversary. I'm assuming because I just know. The 1980, the 2 years on the bottom, again, just look like they're throwing on there. I don't know what else they're adding there. They're just so simple. And like Beepo mentioned, Justin mentioned, the stripes, just they're your colors. Your logo should be in your colors. Don't just throw a color swatch on there because it's serving no purpose. Make it look like stripes from a jersey. It's calling back to something from the history. Maybe there should even be black in there to acknowledge the mid-90s look. Just something in there. I mean, it's not doing anything. It looks like something I would have thought up about 6 or 7 years ago and posted on hockeyjerseyconcepts.com thinking it was really cool. And it just seems to be that's what happened here. There's got to be some positives, though. So let's see if Justin has anything.
Can we go to Beepo first? I'm hoping he inspires me with something I can pull a tangent on because I'm swinging at air here.
Beepo, do you have anything to inspire us as far as positives?
I have some positives, and hopefully they do inspire. I think that they have for sure a great basis to a anniversary logo here. And I'm going to add one more quick negative that Justin did mention as well, with the thickness of the outline on the actual shield shape thing, home plate, whatever, doesn't match up with the the numbers. And I think even though the thickness kind of matches up when you include the white and the gold, it just still looks a little bit off. But yeah, I think they have a fine basis for an anniversary logo with sort of that outlining or the backdrop shape. I don't really know if there's a technical term for that, actually. To disagree with Ryan, I think that the 1980 and 2020, I think they look fine where they are. I think they're framed very well around the logo in the center. And I think you kind of get that. You do get the vibe of, this is the first year and this is the current year. This is, this marking year from it. I do while I do think that they could have included some black just to kind of tie in their entire history, I do like just the way that it looks with this color scheme, and it definitely makes me wonder if, especially with the Heritage Classic coming up and so many rumors, whether they're just, I think would look cool, or actually like found or good based rumors, with them bringing back the vintage white jersey. I could easily see them coming back to this brand in a year or two, and this logo is definitely adding fuel to the fire. But to bring up my positive with that striping, if you take those 2 stripes, but also look at the bottom of the 4 right above it as another stripe, while it's not the same thicknesses, you have the same striping pattern color-wise as the red Heritage jerseys. I'm hoping that's what they went for, and I'm hoping I'm not just making up this meaning that wasn't supposed to be there, but that makes me like the stripes a little bit better, and I think it would have looked just fine if they used the actual same or similar proportions to what they have on the jersey to actually make it a little bit more obvious while still not being, forced obvious, if that makes any sense.
All right.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying on that one. Are you inspired, Justin?
Subtly inspired. So something people mentioned was he didn't know what to call that shape, and it got me thinking to something I used to do on my concepts, and it was because I'd been working on a template that only had the front side of a jersey, and so I was trying to figure out how to show the name and number treatment. And so what I ended up doing was using kind of a mock sort of jersey retirement banner, in which I would put the name and number on the back and then have the logo overlaid on top of the striping pattern from the hem on that banner. And what I realized is that's kind of what this shape is. And if you look at the C and the 1980 and the 2020, it actually maps to kind of how the Jerome McGinley jersey retirement banner was treated, with that C in the middle flanked by the years of the start and end of his career. And in this case, it's at the bottom of the logo, and they actually use a straight rectangular banner, but some of the promotional material, like you look at the logo, and it's the exact shape, like it's the same proportions as this, and so that's really cool, and that's a tieback that I had not seen coming and didn't even know, but it is really cool to see that connection. And with the logo for that night, they did use the heritage jersey striping with the right proportions, and I think what people mentioned about the kind of, I think it's him reaching, and I love the reach that he's taking. I think he's putting more thought into it than they did, but I love that he is, because it is really cool to kind of think that is a very subtle nod to that striping pattern. But I think it is kind of cool that it does kind of steal the retirement banner feel, and I almost wonder if they took it a step farther and actually inlaid the 40 completely in the home plate banner shape instead of having it extended. Honestly, just fully make the 40th anniversary logo look like they're retiring the number 40, sort of just in that logo. And I think that would be a really cool, unique aesthetic to kind of push for. And I think that's something that's, honestly, you just resize a couple things, change the striping pattern, and you're there. And I think that's something that is really cool. And maybe that's something I'll honestly mock up, just because I really am inspired by that idea now. So kudos to Beepo for waking the slumbering bear and actually giving me something to talk about in the positive end for this guy.
And just to add on I'm not sure if this is an accident or if this actually is their meaning behind it, but just doing a quick search for a Calgary Flames Cup banner, it does appear that there is a photo in the rafters of their Stanley Cup Champions banner. I assume this is their Stanley Cup Champions banner. If this is wrong, please correct me. But it does have that exact same shape with the chevron on the bottom. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's the exact same shape as the bottom of this logo. So are we reaching? Well, I don't know. Maybe, but it's there.
Maybe not. Something's there. So it has, relating it to the banners, it has added a little shine. But at the same time, I don't think a logo should require research on initial look. Like, you want to dig into the logo a little deeper, such as the Buffalo Sabres adding detail into their logo. On initial look, it's a buffalo with two crossed swords. You get the idea, Buffalo Sabres. On this one, I like that we've tied it to the look of the banner, so that's cool. But that should be evident from the get-go, and that wasn't here. So it is a positive that it ties into the banners, but it doesn't do it initially, which is a negative to me. And so I do have to rate this logo a 6 out of 10. I think it misses the mark. It appears to have a bit of potential after this discussion. So it's not awful, but I think a 6 out of 10 is appropriate. How about you, Justin?
I'm with you. I mean, I was thinking 5 out of 10. Get that Battle of Alberta going with the same rating for the Oilers alternate in this logo. But I think, as you're saying, with the discussion, it's kind of inspired a little bit more confidence, and I think bumps it up to a 6. What I will say, though, I like kind of the jersey retirement banner feel to it, or the cup banner, whatever you want to call it, and that kind of connection. I feel like your 40th anniversary logo, any anniversary logo, should be distinctly you. And I think every team does retirement banners, Stanley Cup banners pretty similarly, and like the whole chevron home plate shape isn't really distinct. So I think it's a cool concept. But again, I think it's a cool concept to kind of do what I was saying with the Oilers jersey and give it 30 seconds more thought to make what they have a little bit better. But I think, like I said, this is your anniversary. This is yours. So make your logo yours too. And don't just do something everyone does that connects to everyone, but do something that is uniquely you across the board.
Beepo, wrap this one up for us.
Before I get to my rating, I'm just going to bring up one more thing real quick, that while the logo, as far as I'm aware, the 40 is in the font actually used on the jerseys, the heritage jerseys, one thing that would improve it immensely is if you take that 4 and change it from the style where it's like closed to the one where it's open, if you know what I mean. Instead of the 4 coming in at like an angle, have that like the thing come out at a right angle. Do you guys know what I mean, at least?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
If you use that kind of 4, it balances out so many of the issues, because it's going to be a lot more symmetrical and a lot more balanced instead of having that corner cut off and then a bunch of issues stemming from there. But just to make it easy, I'll give it a third 6 out of 10 here. It has a good basis. The execution was less than perfect, but it also isn't a dumpster fire by any means.
So that's 6s across the boards, which makes it an easy average of 6 to figure out here. If you want to take a look at it and come up with your own rating, the link to the image and everything for this episode is in the episode description or the show notes, or simply just head on over to jerseynerdspodcast.com to check out all the show notes for this episode and all the images that we're talking about. Let's step away from the NHL.
It could have been the Ottawa Senators 25th anniversary logo.
Stop. No.
Anything Ottawa does recently has not been good.
Hey, I'm saying it could have been worse, okay?
I want to sleep tonight still. I don't need
Let's go to something that
Here's my new series. Every anniversary logo ever in the Ottawa Senators 2017
The only thing
style.
that could have been worse than your Comic Sans logo series, you have just found it.
How to improve this Calgary Flames 40th anniversary logo is to make it all in Comic Sans, even the C on the logo.
I wouldn't.
Oh, jeez.
I've got to do it now. I've got to do it.
So we have the Cape Breton Eagles, formerly the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles. They're not screaming anymore. They're just Eagles. They're still in the QMJHL, but they have rebranded, come out with completely new logos, word mark. The jerseys appear to be staying the same, though, from previous years. But this looks to me like a much cleaner, more professional logo. Not to say their old one wasn't professional, but it was getting a little dated, and I think they've rebranded at an appropriate time here and given us a really great looking logo. Again, head on over to jerseynerdspodcast.com to see this logo. We have an eagle head screaming up into the air. It's in a shield shape, but included in the shape is the word mark, which is a really great use for the word mark. They've got this kind of rounded font. I can't describe the font very well, but it's a really great sporty looking, almost block font, but there's no straight edges to it. It's kind of rounded. So Cape Breton Eagles, not the Screaming Eagles anymore. I can't find a negative with this rebrand other than it's really hard to find quality images of the logo. And there's actually even a secondary logo which kind of looks like an aviation badge, a little pin that maybe a pilot would wear, but it's using the letters CBE, Cape Breton Eagles, to form this aviation type badge. It's absolutely beautiful. Again, can't find any quality images across the internet of this reveal. Had to go digging for it. So that's my only negative. I think this is a really nice job, but Justin, we're going to focus on negatives right now. I don't know if you can come up with too many.
Get your freaking word marks off your logos. Get rid of them. I agree. It's a beautiful font. The fact that the E The baseline of it extends below the A and the S drops below too is really cool. The Eagles, I don't mind. The fact that there is a Cape Breton in a parallelogram that is literally completely separate from the rest of the logo. Why? Why? Like, this is your logo, this is your team, you should know where you're from. And I think even on the black jersey, they go so far as to put a white outline on the entire thing. So you end up with this acorn looking thing that it's just, why? You don't need words. Like, your logo should stand for itself. I mean, Vancouver finally pulled their head out of their rear end, or as the best commentary line I've ever heard, I think goes on NHL 18. Best commentary line on a video game. It's one of the guys was saying one of the teams was playing bad or whatever, and they go, "Wow, these guys have really got to take their heads out of there." And then I guess they figured out that they're a kids game and they can't say asses. So they go, they got to take their heads out of their helmets. And so that's get your head out of your helmet, get your word mark off your logo. Like, the eagle is well done. It's got a nice solid black outline that you could use and just pop another white outline on it for the jersey. And just keep it simple. Like, it's a good logo, so let it do the speaking for itself. We know that's an eagle. You don't have to tell us. Like, if it was something weird, maybe put a word on there. It's an eagle. Like, it's nothing else. It's not a penguin. It's not a duck. It's an eagle. I get it. You did a good job. Don't heavy hand it. Don't spoon feed me what it is. It's well done. It's good. Just give it to me.
Beepo, how about your negatives? Where do you sit with this?
Yeah, that's about the only negative that I really have. I think ideally, the best logo for the front of a jersey would be get rid of any words and just keep the eagle head. The second best would be to just get rid of that Cape Breton parallelogram. I don't know why. I love that description of parallelogram, even though it's just literally just the fact. But yeah, just get rid of that parallelogram. If you keep eagles, I think that still, while again not the best, I think that still looks fine. And they incorporated eagles with the actual eagle so well that it wouldn't even bother me that much. But that Cape Breton, it's like the Vancouver and the Vancouver jerseys before this year. It's so unnecessary and it's so tacked on. And it's really annoying too, because it's just a simple fix of go into Illustrator or your design program, select the parallelogram and the words, and tap the down arrow key a couple times until it's touching the other black. And then you've got, while it's not, perfect, it at least goes together and it at least looks cohesive. Whereas this just looks like you're throwing on. It looks like you had the jerseys that said Eagles in the first place, but you got it from some other team called the Eagles who played somewhere else. So now you got to throw on your location just so that way people know where you're playing. And it just doesn't exactly work. But, I mean, that's a lot of negative ranting, but it's all about the same thing. So, kind of like with the Oilers jersey, saying a lot of negative things does not make it bad. It's very nitpicky.
I'm actually on the opposite side. I think the font has enough character to it that it adds to the logo, and I do like that the parallelogram is separate from the logo. I think it's just kind of a cool tag. Whereas if you go back to how Vancouver used to do it, that was just a block font arched over the logo. Kind of felt like they had some extra letters laying around, so throw Vancouver over the logo. So this one to me works together as a whole. And I have seen some of the Eagles branding on their website where they're advertising at this point preseason games, and they are using just the eagle. Again, this is something that we don't know or haven't seen because there weren't a lot of images released. We haven't seen a whole package of logos released from the team. So it's hard to know what they're going to use and what's available in the whole brand identity. So I do like the use of the words. I think the eagle looks tremendous. He looks angry. He looks aggressive. He looks strong and regal. All the things you want from an eagle. He's a regal eagle. All the things you want from a eagle logo. I think the colors look fantastic. I'm not an artist, but I think the shading looks really cool. I really just think this is an overall great upgrade for the Eagles. Justin,
it's
positives.
It's a real eagle. It's not a beagle. It's an eagle, and it's very clear. And it's 100%. It's a great eagle. Secondary logo, man, like holy. Like we talked about, do we need to get that Buffalo jersey right away? Maybe, maybe not, but I need this on a t-shirt and I need like 12 of them. Like that is so well done. Like the interlocking CB, the E forming that the second wing on the right side, just like inject that into my veins, put Cape Breton over it in a parallelogram. I won't even care. Like I don't care. Like you can't ruin my day with that logo. Like that is so beautiful. It is so well done. Like
I want a polo shirt
exactly.
with that
Like
logo on
I
it.
want a pin. I want a hat. I want like tattoo like on my leg, on my arm, on my other arm, on get a third leg for it. Like I don't care. Like give me that. Like anywhere you can give it to me. To make it my laptop background. Like you know what? Do it. Like it's close enough. I've got to be in my name. That's all I need. It's that's what it stands for. It's JB Designs now. That's it. That's my logo. I love it. Just give it to me. Easy.
Stolen.
Please copyright.
Beepo, let's go to you for the positives.
Again, the rendition of the eagle is incredible. The shading is great. Just everything about that is just incredible. The Eagles word mark above it, again, while I don't think it's ideally there, on the jersey, I think as a secondary logo, or even as the primary logo, I think it looks fine. They incorporated the word mark really well with the Eagle rendition. And even the Cape Breton, as I said before, I wouldn't hate it if it just was, combined with the black shape rather than a separate shape. And again, while it wouldn't be ideal, it would still look fine because the rest of the logo is just so good to compensate for a minor, even a major in the case of this parallelogram being separate. It still looks great, regardless of that actually really not good feature about it, if you ask me. And that's just saying so much about the rest of the logo. But again, I got to gush over that secondary logo. I first saw it whenever Justin sent it to us as an image on the shoulder of the jersey, and I was like, oh, that's really nice. An interlocking CB with the wings on it. That's really cool. And as Justin sent us a flat image that he found from the website of the logo again, I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait, that's an E. What? I was like, I literally told you guys, I really wish I had this realization on the podcast, so my reaction would have been on the podcast. And you guys can vouch for me that I was amazed and I'm in love with the logo now. Like, I'm not sure I want to get it tattooed on me, but it's wow. I don't really know what else to say, but wow.
If the Eagles will pay for tattoos,
okay,
then I'll get them.
Okay, yeah, I'll agree on that. I got to get it on a hat for sure. I'm becoming more of a hat guy lately. I got to get it on a hat.
With that baby on there, like sign me up 6 ways to Sunday, easy.
We're going for a real throwback here to the original HJC OGs. But I'm becoming the new Dylan Alexander here, the hat guy.
Hat guy. All right, let's start placing a rating on this Eagles rebrand. Again, they didn't rebrand the jerseys, just the logos. You can see all of them on jerseynerdspodcast.com, or you can find the direct link in the episode description. I'm going to give this whole rebrand an 8.5. I really, really, really think it's solid. It's a really good upgrade, and I'm glad they did it. It really is appropriate for them, and it bumps them up a notch in their whole overall look. So 8.5 for me. Justin, what are you giving this one?
But the point is a parallelogram that is slightly angled up and disconnected from the rest of the 7.5. I just think that's a very important detail that needs to be kind of included in the rating there.
And we're going to go to Beepo to finish it off.
I'm actually going to give this one a 9, mainly because it's just so good that even there's some small nitpicks, but, they're kind of small potatoes. Even though they aren't, it's really weird. It's really hard to describe, but honestly, I think I actually want one of these jerseys now, especially for that secondary logo, but it's a really solid jersey overall. Like before this rebrand, even though the jerseys were exactly the same, save for the collar, I believe. They probably had, it's just kind of, okay, it's a brand, it's in this league, that makes sense. But now they're probably one of the best in the league, if not the best. The only one that I can think of off the top of my head that might be better, just looking at the list of logos on sportslogos.net, because I don't necessarily have all of their jersey designs memorized like I do for the NHL, is the Rem parts. And even then, I don't know. They've just catapulted themselves into the top 3 in the league probably, again, without looking at them all spread out. But just off the top of my head, they're probably top 3 in the league now, and it's incredible.
Yeah,
and I want one.
yeah,
I
I would
one.
agree.
I've talked myself
And
into it.
especially
We've talked me into it again. I want one.
Send them to Jersey Nerds Podcast. So with a 9 from Beepo, an 8.5 from me, a 7.5 from Justin, we have the average score working out to an 8.3 for the Cape Breton Eagles rebrand. And it's certainly worthy of that rating. It's a fantastic rebrand. And as Beepo mentioned, they probably are within the at least top 3, top 5 best looking teams in the QMJHL now. Moving over a little bit further west now to the Ontario Hockey League, the OHL, we have the London Knights, who have tried to tell us that they've come out with a new logo, but it's just a few small fixes on their existing logo, and they've applied them to essentially jerseys from their past, very Minnesota North Star looking jerseys, and it's all applied to the very fabulous CCM Quiklite jerseys, which of course are incredibly popular. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass on that one. Again, see images of these jerseys on jerseynerdspodcast.com or directly in the show notes. You'll see a link. Let's go to, we'll start off with Justin, and let's start off with the negatives here of the new London Knights jerseys.
I followed London for a while. My cousin actually played for London. He was actually traded for Nazem Kadri back in the day. So fun fact to make myself feel relevant, I guess. But I don't know, something just feels off. And I don't know, like something like I like the dark, I like the green jersey. But something about the black on the bottom of the striping pattern on the away just seems weird, and I can't place it. Maybe it's because on their previous ones that these kind of call back to was the opposite with black on top, green on the bottom. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that the green yoke is up there too, so having the green and green together is weird. I don't know. It's just something doesn't feel right about the white. Kind of like Ryan was just saying, the fact that they're pretending to have a new logo when it really isn't new kind of just makes me unhappy. I think that the piping on the shoulder yoke is unnecessary. It's so thin that I didn't even notice it at first, and it just looks just odd there. It's just not thick enough to really drive the point home. And honestly, I think with this kind of sort of retro inspired look, it would look better without it. Same thing with the collar. It's the 3 stripes just muddy it up. I think just make it solid green and it's easier. I don't know, make it solid. There's just a lot going on up top that doesn't need to be. But overall, it's not a bad look. Yeah, those are kind of my negatives, I guess. It's not bad.
Yeah. Overall, not a bad look. The stance I'm taking is London has made so many logo tweaks, or what they would call logo changes, and it's just rehashing old logos, that you kind of lose respect for the announcement. I mean, they've made so many changes and modifications to jerseys. It looks like they can't just sit on one idea, and they are a storied franchise in the OHL, very successful franchise in the OHL. So there should be a little bit of
logo, like after all that. Like you think, I can't tell if it's like supposed to be a retro night or like a Daft Punk inspired night with like the whole like weird like helmet detailing and like it's just odd. Like it's just odd.
Now I want to see a Daft
like,
Punk theme night.
Just change the colors and you could make it. It almost looks like Stormtrooper-esque. Like you could really get a Star Wars tie. Like it's odd. Like, and it's so hard to figure out like where the helmet ends. Like, is the helmet just the white part, or is the green stuff included? Like, it's just weird. It's an odd logo.
Yeah. It's almost there's almost too much detail.
Like, could you imagine scaling that down on a
I like
it's just
yeah, you would lose it. Yeah, there would be. I like to subscribe to the idea that a great logo has detail, but is also kind of
Yeah.
easy to doodle. There, you should be able to doodle some portion of it and still make it look like the logo. I like that idea, and that's not happening here. And just trying to tell us that this is a brand new logo, it's like you're just insulting people's intelligence when you do that, and then telling us that they're new jerseys when they've worn that green one before. Like, it's just because it's on a CCM Quiklite template doesn't mean it's a new jersey, and just because you're releasing it now doesn't mean it's a new jersey. So I almost feel insulted that this is what London is trying to present to me, and I'm not comfortable with what they've presented to me. I mean, again, we've discussed this before. It's not horrible, but you're trying to pull the wool over my eyes, and for that reason, I believe I'm rejecting it. Beepo, where do you sit with your negatives?
Yeah, in a vacuum, these things look okay, but whenever you really just dig into it, the logo, it honestly, the first impression I got is that these things look like a throwback. Like, the logo looks like it belongs in, like, the 80s or something like that. It looks like it has that kind of aesthetic to it. Or maybe the early 90s. Like, I want to say almost like the 80s, 90s, but not like the crazy 90s, but like the rest of the 90s, if that makes any sense. I'll agree, too, with Justin that the piping on the shoulders, while it's not a huge detractor, it's not necessary at all. And I don't hate the collar being the way it is, especially on the road, because it's consistent with the striping. And I looked at that one first, and I was like, oh my god, they had the collar consistent with the striping. Incredible detail. Then I look at the home, and I'm like, no, come on, you were so close. And I really wish they had that collar consistent with the striping as well. But yeah, the main nitpicks, I think, are with the logo, and just kind of, they gotta settle with something. And even if it takes them going back to another basically throwback or a pseudo throwback to at least settle on something, then I guess I'll take it, even if it's not perfect.
Yeah. Again, it's it's almost like we want to compromise for this jersey, but I might be for my positives here. I can't really think of overwhelming positives. Justin mentioned that the 3-color collar is a little too much. I kind of like it here, but he also mentioned a solid green collar would be better, and I was thinking about that, and I thought, yeah, that would be better. So it's kind of interesting how both those work, and just all the colors used on the jerseys here. I've always been a fan of the late 80s Minnesota North Stars jerseys. These are very similar. They're not exact, but they're similar. And so I do like it for that reason, but I can't get a bad taste out of my mouth. I'm still offended that I'm trying to be told that these are new, and I know that they're not. So I don't have too many positives here, but that is not meaning to say they're bad jerseys. It's hard to explain, but I don't know where you sit on positives,
So
Justin.
correcting myself. I said my cousin was traded for Nazem Kadri. That's incorrect. My cousin played with Kadri on the Knights. He was traded to the Owens Attack for Wayne Simmons, which is what I was remembering. But anyway, yeah, same boat. I mean, they're not bad jerseys, but they're not Knights jerseys. They're Minnesota North Stars jerseys. Like, it's bad enough when like a minor league team like will copy their parent club's jerseys, but it's like you're not even one, the Minnesota North Stars don't exist, and two, you're a junior team. You're not a minor league team. So like, there's no reason to steal a jersey design from the NHL club. I've never really like cared for any London Knights jerseys in particular, so I guess these are kind of the best they've had, but again, they're not theirs. So there's really not much to say. Like, they're not bad jerseys, but it's, you know what? Just do something. Like, do something fun. Take a shot. Like, you've taken a shot and it's been bad in the past, so like, you're not gonna like get worse than what you've already done. So it doesn't really matter. Like, just go for it. Like, take your fancy logo, make a fancy jersey. I don't care. Like, just try something.
Just
Exactly,
jump,
go for
just
it. It's
peel the
your team.
Band-Aid
Like,
off.
do it.
Jump into the pool. Just, yeah, absolutely. Beepo, positives for the Knights here?
Well, as was mentioned, it is an improvement overall, I think, even if it is a copy in a certain sense. And I will partly disagree that I don't think the road jersey really gives off that much of a North Stars look. And I think that's mainly just because of the yoke, and that the North Stars jersey did not have a yoke on it. And the shades of color are also a little bit different, which also helps. Or at least the gold, it's definitely different. And I think it works pretty well on the road jersey. The problem is that whenever you look at the home jersey, it really looks like the North Stars, and it's that white yoke. And I kind of wonder, do you change it to gold? Do you change it to black? Do you remove it? I don't really know, but either way, we are on the positive, so it's definitely an improvement overall. And even if they are North Stars throwbacks, mainly with that green one, the North Stars, I really like that green jersey especially, and the white one from that set. So even if it is a copy, it's an improvement, and if they settle on it, then okay, fine. At least they've settled on something, right?
Okay, so let's get to our ratings here. I got to sit this one at a 7 out of 10. Again, not bad. I'm offended that I'm being told it's new. And Justin mentioned that he just wants them to go for it, and I couldn't agree more. So I think 7 out of 10 is appropriate for
We're reading
them.
the same
Justin,
book tonight, 7
what's
out
your
of 10.
rating? And Beepo, what are you thinking?
I was kind of going to say 6, but I'm going to be nice to you, Ron, and make it easy. I'll say 7. Yeah, you know what? 6 is a little bit too low anyways. You know what, man? You guys and myself have been really good at talking me into things tonight. Can you guys just become my life coaches and
As long as it
talk
comes with
me
a
into
salary,
making
I'm
good
game.
decisions or something?
That's what we do here. That's part of the Jersey Nerds podcast experience, talking you into things. Mainly buying jerseys with money that you don't have.
Well, my latest tweet has been, so.
That's okay.
Hey.
All right, so that is the London Knights. Obviously, everything comes out to an average rating of 7, and these jerseys are average, so that's appropriate there. Again, take a look at them by going over to jerseynerdspodcast.com.